Welcome to the deep dive.
Mm.
So, when you think about solar power, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably, bright sunshine, panels soaking it all up under clear blue skies.
Yeah, that's the classic image. We always link solar with perfect weather.
Exactly. But what happens when the clouds roll in? Or worse, when it actually starts raining?
Well, typically that means a big drop in power generation.
Right. You'd assume it's pretty much game over for the panels then. But consider a place like Oklahoma. It's already a giant in renewables,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Huge wind power capacity.
Yeah, something like 44% of its electricity from wind back in 2022, third biggest in the US.
That's correct. A real leader there.
So for a state like that, the question of weather variability is, well, it's critical.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the mission for this deep dive, exploring something that sounds almost backwards. What if solar panels could actually generate electricity during rain?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking into these really innovative technologies that might let panels capture energy from rain and how that could really complement Oklahoma's existing wind power.
Well, that hits the nail on the head regarding the main challenge for traditional solar. Inconsistency.
Right.
In cloudy or rainy weather, panel efficiency just tanks. It can drop to maybe 10, perhaps 25% of what they should be producing.
Wow, that's a huge dip.
It is. And that's a major barrier to getting consistent, reliable, clean energy all year round, especially, like you said, in places with changeable weather.
Okay.
But here's the exciting part, the kind of aha moment. These new techs aren't just coping with rain.
They're using it.
Exactly. They're actually turning the rain itself into a power source.
Okay, how does that work?
So there are mainly two approaches we're seeing emerge. First, triboelectric nanogenerators,
Yeah.
TNGs for short.
Triboelectric. Okay.
Think of it like adding a special transparent layer on top of the regular solar cell.
Uh-huh.
When raindrops hit or slide across this layer, the friction, the mechanical impact, it generates a tiny electric charge. It is basically converting the kinetic energy of the raindrop directly into electricity, like a mini generator powered by each drop.
Huh. That's pretty neat. And the second way.
The second one involves graphene, graphene-enhanced panels.
Ah, graphene. Okay. Heard a lot about that material.
Right. So this is, well, it's even wilder. These panels use a layer of electron-rich graphene. Rainwater naturally contains positive ions, right? Like salts dissolved in it.
Okay.
The graphene layer interacts with these ions in the rain, essentially pulling electrons out of the water itself to create a current.
So it's like the rain becomes a fuel.
In a way, yeah. It uses the chemical properties of the rain and the graphene to generate power. Both TENS and graphene aim to turn rainfall into usable electricity.
So let me get this straight. These aren't just panels that, survive the rain.
No, they actively harness it.
That completely changes the picture for solar, doesn't it? Makes it way more reliable.
It really does. It addresses that core intermittency problem head on.
This feels like a proper game changer. Are we seeing this actually work anywhere, like real-world examples? Maybe even in Oklahoma?
Yes, absolutely. And there's a really interesting example from Oklahoma, actually. A fish farm.
A fish farm. Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, they installed solar panels there, mainly to power the water pumps for the fish tanks.
Makes sense.
What they found was, well, first, the system worked pretty well, even when it was cloudy. But the really interesting part was during rainy periods. The rain actually cleaned the panels.
Oh, right. Like a natural washing system.
Exactly. So performance sometimes improved after rain because the dust and grime got washed off, letting them capture sunlight more effectively afterwards. And while this specific setup might not have been explicitly designed for generating power from rain itself with tangs or graphene yet, it demonstrates a crucial dual benefit.
I see. So the rain helps maintain efficiency, even if it's not the primary power source in that instance.
Precisely. It shows how rain, often seen as a negative, can actually have operational advantages. And it sets the stage for panels that do generate power from rain and get cleaned.
That fish farm example really makes it tangible. It's not just about power during rain, but this whole package deal.
Uh-huh.
Panels that work in sun, contribute in rain, and get cleaned naturally. That makes solar seem much more practical, especially for climates like Oklahoma's with its mix of sun, clouds, and, well, sometimes quite heavy rain.
Exactly right. It smooths out the generation curve. It makes solar a more consistent player throughout the year.
So connecting this to the bigger picture for Oklahoma.
Well, think about it. Oklahoma already has this massive wind capacity, sometimes producing more clean energy than it needs.
Right, surplus energy.
If you add solar that's more reliable year-round, even contributing during rain, you diversify the renewable portfolio. You make the green energy supply even more stable.
Less reliance on other sources, maybe a stronger grid?
Definitely. A more resilient grid, less intermittency overall. It could really cement Oklahoma's status as a clean energy powerhouse, moving beyond just wind.
It turns solar from something that only works in ideal conditions into a more dependable all-weather partner.
Even if the rain generation itself is supplemental, it's contributing when traditional solar isn't, and that adds up.
That's a really compelling vision. Okay, so thinking about that fish farm, again, the unexpected benefits like cleaning, what other maybe surprising industries or areas do you think could really benefit from this kind of dual function solar technology? How might a future where we can genuinely say sunshine or rain, the power's on, actually reshape our whole energy landscape? What does that future look like?